Hi there, I am Ilya, the head of STP Installation Center in St. Petersburg. We all know what soundproofing is and what it is used for. However, even such a seemingly straightforward subject is full of myths and misbeliefs. I often hear them from our clients and reply to the same comments on YouTube or social media. Today I'm gonna bust top 10 myths about soundproofing. So let's do it! The first item of our list is a very popular myth that sound insulation should be lightweight. This misbelief is rooted in those ancient times when noise block wasn't on the market. Indeed, if it wasn't for this sound insulating membrane, we would be saving up to 25 kilos of the final weight. But at the same time, we'd lose a lot in effectiveness. A sound insulating membrane has such a significant weight for a reason. Thanks to that, as well as to its highly filled structure, the material reflects noise so effectively. That's why, looking for effective soundproofing, be ready to get prominent weight gain. But it won't be beyond the bounds, no fear. The next myth in our chart is corrosion underneath vibration insulating materials and, as a consequence, a rusting car body. We all seen those terrible photos and videos when a guy peels all the sheets of vibration damping materials hanging on by the eyelids, and at best we see water under them, and at worst, metal rusted to the core. What we need to understand is that such awful things happen when you install materials on an unprepared surface. For example, when the metal has already rusted before soundproofing, or you ignore air cavities under the material, or haven't degreased the surface before mounting the material. A vibration insulating material itself is a sealant. It's meant to prevent corrosion, and if all the installation requirements are met, water won't get under the material. Don't forget that if the car is in good condition, water can't get inside. But if it does, it's probably high time to dismantle the car and try it thoroughly together with the standard soundproofing. Additionally, I'd say a few words about sound-absorbing materials, in particular B-plasts. By and large, they're installed in zones water can't get to. If I were given $1 for every comment saying that all materials are cut from the same cloth and only differ in the pattern on the foil, I have bought myself a couple of yachts and become a citizen of Cyprus. But joking aside, most vibration-absorbing materials on the market are based on a black butyl rubber. That's why externally they may look very much alike, foil plasmastic. But all manufacturers have their own formulations and techniques, so materials differ not only in weight, but in the temperature range of effective performance, adhesion and even smell. That's why you can't assess the effectiveness of the material only by tactile or visual perception. Even such an indicator as adhesion can't be checked by hand at a shop, because, you see, your hand is probably not made of metal. The next myth based on the properties of materials is that soundproofing begets offensive smell in the car. I'm glad that this misbelief is gradually sinking into oblivion. However, it depends. There's a perception that in summer materials smell when heated, and in wet weather they evolve musty odor. But let's get back to the second position in our chart and repeat that vibration-absorbing materials don't absorb water at all. And speaking about heating, we should remember that STP supplies sheet and molded materials to car plants of Afterbus, Volkswagen, Nissan, etc. And car manufacturers have very high requirements to the material's properties, including their smell. STP uses similar technologies for the production of both do-it-yourself tuning materials and those supplied to conveyor belts. Simply said, there'll be no odor, even pleasant one, because STP doesn't add any flavorings to its materials. The same refers to our mastic. While anti-rust compounds dry out and ventilate in a couple of days, our liquid gold dries out in an hour and doesn't smell by default. Probably I should have given this myth the first place. It's a subject of heated discussion everywhere where you can comment on the issue. Indeed, there's a perception that all we do is relatively legally take off money from people. In fact, there are two concepts in our field: absolute effectiveness and subjective effectiveness. The first one is measured in decibels by professional noise level meter. The second one is perceived by ear. And whilst in the first case effectiveness is proved always and is reflected on a line chart, in the second case the assessment depends on a hearing acuity. That's why some people choose complex soundproofing for their premium cars like Genesis or X5, while others drive low-cost cars at a speed of 120 km per hour with their windows open, talking to the passengers routinely. Usually, most of our clients from the second category ultimately realize the effect of soundproofing and feel the difference between before and after. We don't sell you what you don't need. We only eliminate the problems in zones which bother you most. The previous myth goes with another one, that soundproofing eliminates noise completely. Unfortunately, no manufacturer or installation center can guarantee complete silence in the car. The effectiveness of additional soundproofing is limited by the zone and the thickness of the material which can be used on this zone. Not every automotive engineer designing a new car thinks about guides from STP wishing to treat all possible surfaces with soundproofing materials. And the materials, per se, can surprisingly be a limitation. Although performance rates are increasing and new technologies are being introduced, we haven't made such progress yet to achieve complete silence in the car, but the research is being made behind the closed doors of laboratories and someday will achieve success. For now, all noise-related problems can be solved even in a new car with a new engine and suspension. That soundproofing can minimize the noise level and improve comfort in the car. It was hard to decide where to place this myth. I face it too often in my practice. In STP, we meet high-quality requirements for dismantling and assembling cars, observe the rules of factory assembly, and use only professional tools. We cover the parts of the car interior to protect them against damage. Our specialists upgrade their skills regularly and guarantee the high quality of work with any class of cars. If necessary, we replace one-use fasteners with original ones in cars improved by us. You won't see any clips or screws missing. Thanks to these principles, our clients' cars don't get any new source of squeaking noise. The car tuning field is vast and multifaceted. I get used to explaining why such improvements as soundproofing doesn't affect factory warranty. It's worth remembering that soundproofing doesn't modify the form factor of the car body. So the hood soundproofing will not void your car warranty. However, if any of the interior or electronic parts is broken, your dealer will cancel the warranty. Keep that in mind. So, a mere observance of installation rules and solicitous attitude to the fragile plastic parts and electronic systems of the car will help you to maintain warranty coverage. The main reproach to installation centers is that they allegedly won't install a high-quality soundproofing in one day. Probably all these junctures, plastic elements, screws and decorative panels create the impression that the dismantling itself will take a couple of days. In reality, modern technologies of soundproofing allow optimizing the work of several specialists so that by the same evening the car is treated and assembled. There's nothing wrong with continuous soundproofing. It's all about effective skills and muscle memory formed by experience. Although there are dozens of car models, in fact they're very much alike in terms of the processes of soundproofing. Of course, they have some peculiarities, but the basic principles are common. A lot of water has flowed under the bridge since the time when soundproofing took several days. Now we have modern tools, dismantling and assembling techniques, definite installation zones, and clear specialization of installers. This is the future which will save our most valuable resource, time. And the last, but not the least, is the myth that the good soundproofing costs little. When clients see the price of the soundproofing service, they try to calculate a half of the price is the cost of the materials and another half is the cost of work. But the rule used in construction can't be applied here. I'll explain. The final price of soundproofing is composed of the cost of the materials, the reputation of the installation center, the cost of work, seasonality, yes, even in soundproofing, risks, and the cost of one-use hardware. At the end of the day, soundproofing is quite a costly affair. However, you can do it by yourself and save a good sum of money. We make detailed reviews of the soundproofing process for various car models, so you can repeat all the steps with your car. So that's it for now. I'll be glad to read in comments what other soundproofing myths you know that we've missed.